to understand.
Could this be the last one, because it's been a very long session?
Apart from the politics of the UN and the US trying to create the negotiation ISIS, are there any negatives from being detached from the Are there any negative impacts from being detached out of the UN system?
Just repeat the last part, because I didn't get that.
Are there any negative impacts to the ISIS because it's detached from the UN system?
It could be negative because it's being detached.
You know, not really. So the question is whether it's a weakness that the ICC is not a UN organisation. You know, not really, because the UN couldn't have set it up. There wouldn't have been votes, and apart from that, I think it's to the advantage of an international criminal court not to be tied to a political body. This was the problem with the Security Council setting up ad hoc tribunals. It was politics. I mean, why? I remember my first meeting in Belgrade with the Serb Minister of Justice. He said, this is an act of discrimination against Serbia. He said the Security Council, the UN, didn't set up an international criminal court against Saddam Hussein when he killed his Kurdish population using chemical weapons. The UN didn't set up a court against Pol Pot when he murdered 2 million of his own people in a civil war. Why us? Worse things have been done, he said, on your continent, in Africa. Why us? And he had a point. And I said to the Minister, if the former Yugoslavia is the first and last situation for the UN to get involved in setting up a criminal court, then you're right. It would be unprincipled and unjust. But I said, if there are more to come, you have no right to complain about being the first. I mean, it was a thumbs up. I didn't know that Rwanda was coming and the ICC and Sierra Leone was coming. But I think it was a fair answer to give. One of the problems of the Security Council running it is, as I've said, 5 nations have a veto. So you'd never get an international, an ad hoc court for any of the 5 permanent members or their friends, or situations which are embarrassing to them. At least the International Criminal Court is not bound to that extent by big power politics. As I've said, the politics is there. You can't get away from it. But the further away from the UN politics that the International Criminal Court is, I believe the stronger it will be.
Okay. Just before we close, I thought I'd use my privilege to ask you one question that was a topic of interest to us. Tony Blair is coming to visit South Africa on a speaking engagement.
Visit Wits?
He is.
Is he going to visit Wits?
No, he's coming to South Africa. South Africa is a signatory to the Rome Statute.
Sorry, who's coming?
Tony Blair.
Oh, right.
Would you advise any well-intentioned NGO to go to a local court to get an indictment against him so that he either stays on his plane or he lands and faces the consequences?
Well, you know, it's a question really of using universal jurisdiction. The first question I would ask, and you would have to look at, is what evidence do you have that Blair is guilty of committing crimes, serious war crimes, that fall within the jurisdiction of the South African courts? Going to war is not a war crime. It may be in 2017 when aggression clicks in, and then I don't think it's going to happen. But I think there's a problem. I fully approve of universal jurisdiction, that domestic courts can use universal jurisdiction to go against people who've committed international crimes, such as genocide or crimes against humanity and violations of the Torture Convention or slavery or piracy. It's a good thing. I mean, in my book, there are 3 divisions. The first division is domestic courts. First prize is domestic courts should go against their own people. And of course, I think it's a shame that the Obama administration has not investigated investigated crimes committed by the Bush administration in Afghanistan and Iraq. That would be first prize. Second prize is the International Criminal Court. If the International Criminal Court had jurisdiction over the United States, it may well be that there would be an investigation into some of the things that have happened. Third prize, where domestic courts don't do anything, the International Criminal Court cannot do anything because it doesn't have jurisdiction, then there's universal jurisdiction. And I think it's better than nothing. So I think the answer to your question, if there's evidence, by all means, but I'm not sure there is.
Thank you very much.